New people will always tell you what they can't do. If you remember what I said in the story, I was telling Jerry I can't sponsor people. People always focus, new people always focus on what they can't do, not what they can do. Show empathy, not sympathy. How do you do that? Well, the technique that we use in the business is called feel, felt, found. And that shows people empathy. So you say to people, I know how you feel. When we first saw the business, I found it hard to sell the products. But what I found was the products are very competitive and lots of people want them. I know how you feel. I felt the same. This is what we found. Now you can even use that with your wife. But she usually reads the same books and listens to the same tapes as you. So you've got to be a bit more subtle. And you say things like, I can understand that, love. You know, I thought that. But I'll tell you what I reckon is this. Yeah? People make decisions based on emotion, not on logic. And realize fear is an emotion, so is a dream. And the thing that holds people back in the business is fear. Two types of fear. FOP and FOF. FOP and FOF. Fear of people and fear of failure. Fear of people and what people may think. And fear of trying something and not succeeding. So fear is an emotion, so is a dream. Fear is a real objection. So you have to get people focused on their dream. Use examples of help and experience to do that. And then use the dream to overcome the fear. Have you ever noticed that people sometimes say, new people turn around and say things like, we've been thinking. Now you know what's going to come next, don't you? Now it's not a good idea to interrupt people, but this is one of those times when you need to do it. Whenever you catch someone saying, we've been thinking, you have to stop them and don't allow negative confession. So you interrupt them and say, that's great, Betty. Intelligent people need to think. So before they have a chance to let it come out of their mouth, you turn it into a positive. And focus back on the dream. Don't allow negative confession. See people where they can be, not where they are. Give them the room to grow. Watch for body language. Watch people's body language. And if you feel them tensing up or see them tensing up, then you can say something like, I get the impression something's bothering you, and lean back and say, what could that be? Okay? Be sensitive to people. The dream is the key. Over 300 years ago, Galileo said, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself. Alexander Pope said, men must be taught as if you taught them not, and things unknown proposed as things forgot. People are primarily interested in themselves. Let them talk about them. If you see a group photograph, who's the first person you look for? People are either pulled by their dreams or pushed by their circumstances. Try to find out where they're coming from. And the best way to do that is to become a good listener. Develop some simple conversational skills. A good technique that you can use is called the question, comment, question technique. You ask someone a question, you comment on their answer, and then you ask them another question. That way you retain control of the conversation and you can steer it in what direction you want to. In other words, you say, how long have you lived here, John? And they answer the question. You say, well, this is quite a nice area. You know, this is a really nice area. Do you have any children? And you just control the conversation. But what you don't do is just ask question after question. In other words, how long have you lived here, John? Do you have any children? Then it becomes an interrogation, and people become defensive. Listen carefully to what people say. Pause before you answer them to show that you're paying attention. Show interest by leaning forward and asking questions. Be businesslike, but stay approachable. Create rapport by gently mirroring their body language. It's a very subtle technique, one that you can learn, but gently mirror people's body language. That way you create rapport and they feel comfortable around you. Make suggestions, don't give orders. 3 don'ts that you don't want to do. Number 1, don't use terminology with new people. And it's very easy to slip into that if you're not careful. And brand new person's thinking, what's he talking about? Up your leg, down your leg, cross your leg? They don't understand. So don't use terminology with new people. Number 2, don't turn up without calling first. It's very rude just to turn up on someone's doorstep. And that's sure to rub them up the wrong way. And number 3, don't keep people up too late. Don't stay there all night so they wish you'd gone home. Always leave 5 minutes before they want you to, rather than 5 minutes after they already wished you'd gone. Leave people wanting more. The 2 biggest mistakes people make with new people are, number 1, they say too much. They say too much. They've been in the business for a couple of months, and they try and give a brand new person all that information they've accumulated over a 2-month period. And they're not ready for it. And the second thing that people do, the second mistake, is they chase people. They run after people. Have you ever noticed that some people get in this business just to annoy you? Don't try and force people to succeed against their better judgment. Don't chase people. It's like trying to teach pigs to sing. It frustrates them and it irritates you. No, that's the wrong way around, isn't it? It irritates them and it frustrates you. But don't do it. Okay, don't try and force people more than they're ready for. Be patient with others, but impatient with yourself. If you can't get wet wood to burn, get new wood. What you do is you start a fire somewhere else, and the wet wood will dry out. But don't try and get wet wood to burn. You set the pace. People will do what you do, not what you say. You can't push a rope, but what you can do is gently pull a rope. People need time to grow. We did. Uplift people and see beyond their weaknesses. Develop a swelled heart, not a swelled head. Care about people. Learn to speak from the heart. One touch from you can make all the difference. And build friendships and relationships with your people. There's a saying in the business, you build a friendship, then you build a direct ship. One of the biggest reasons we're standing here today as New Diamonds is because of our relationship with Jerry and Mandy and their faith and belief in us. But they didn't wait for us, they kept going. No one's perfect. We all have different things to overcome. And know that you don't have to be perfect either. Learn how to forgive. Remember, as I said earlier, people have only one thing in common. They are all different. And because of that, whenever you're dealing with people, you will get problems. Learn to get outside of yourself and walk in the other man's shoes. Let me give you 8 guidelines on how to solve people problems. Number 1, do it quickly. Do it quickly. When something comes up, react swiftly. Don't allow things to fester and deteriorate. Deal with them there and then, immediately. Number 2, never in anger. Never lose your temper. Whatever the situation, there will be a solution. If you don't know the answer, someone upline will. Don't get into an argument. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. And never say to people, you're wrong. Anytime you argue, you lose. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So don't get into a head-to-head with people. Number 3, do it in private. Never discuss something sensitive in public. Keep information confidential, or people won't be honest with you because they'll be worried who else will find out. Ask people's permission to correct them, but never do it in public. Never steal a man's dignity. Do it in private. Number 4, be specific. Don't criticize the person, criticize the act. People don't know what to do unless you guide them, because they've never done this before. Don't try and correct too much at once. Number 5, point out solutions. If you mention a negative, point out the solution. Talk in terms of their interests. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Number 6, follow it up. It's more important to be likable than be liked. So check progress. Look for any improvements. Because then you can do number 7, which is reinforce and compliment. Reinforce and compliment. Make things people do right more important than things they do wrong. Be a good finder. Look for opportunities to praise. Mark Twain said, "I can live for 2 months on one good compliment." And finally, number 8, recognize people. When the problem's solved, recognize people's achievement. Always take the blame and give the credit. Don't look for the glory, be humble. If you think you're too big to do something small, you're going to be too small to ever do anything big. Realize recognition is a very powerful motivator. Babies cry for it and soldiers die for it. 25,000 managers were interviewed to see what they look for in their work. And in reverse order, the 6 top things they came back with were: number 6, working conditions. Number 5, money. Number 4, freedom. Number 3, security. Number 2, a sense of belonging. And number 1, recognition. But let's look at how those 6 things relate to the business. First of all, number 6, working conditions. Well, first of all, I don't consider anything we do in the business as work. But I made a note here. I'm writing these notes while sunbathing in the garden on a Wednesday morning. Number 5, money. Well, we're struggling by. Number 4, freedom. We would find it hard now not to take a holiday every month. And I definitely couldn't get up before 9 o'clock. Security. Imagine being in the position where the worst thing that can happen to you is your income's going to go up. Number 2, sense of belonging. To be part of this winning team, involved with your leaders. There is no finer group of people anyway. And recognition. The recognition we've received in the last month is enough to last anyone for several lifetimes. You get more recognition in this business at the 15% level than the average millionaire does in his life. So as you can see, this business covers all the bases, all the things people are looking for. But recognition is great as long as it doesn't go to your head. And the first sign of trouble in a group is usually lack of respect. And even when you've really good people skills, not everyone in your group will relate to you. You'll still get personality clashes. So it's important you encourage your people to build a good working relationship with your upline. Give them some other people to relate to other than you, because you won't relate to everyone in your group if you're going to have a big group. Because if you cut them off from your upline, that will duplicate, and they'll cut you off from their people. Build it as a team. So I remember back in November watching the RAC rally and watching the co-driver giving advice to the driver. And they were just saying right, left, turn here, there's a bridge coming. And they were putting their total faith in the co-driver. And that's how you build the business. You put your faith in your upline and be guided and steered by them, realizing that they've got a vested financial interest in your success. Let me give you 3 basic laws in this business. These are fundamental and you can't break them. Number 1, never discuss, act or talk negative downline. Never discuss, act or talk negative downline. One statement. If you're down, go up. And if you're up, go down. Number 2, always uplift and edify your line of sponsorship. Always uplift and edify your line of sponsorship. Then they can edify you. Stay plugged in to your best working upline. But remember, whenever you throw dirt, you lose ground. So always uplift and edify the people in your upline. Number 3, never change anything without checking upline first. If you come across a situation and you're not sure, when in doubt, don't. Okay? Never try and reinvent the wheel. But don't make excuses. Realize if you make excuses, you'll accept them from people in your group. Let me give you some words of warning. Build relationships, don't socialize. When you're building relationships with your people, get to know them as people and help them. But don't turn the business into a social event. There's a difference. Be fair and don't play favorites. Don't spend time with people just because you like them. Don't get hung up on personalities. You know, there's going to be some people you relate to more than others. Give your time to the people that perform. And don't fall into the trap of drawing circles where it's comfortable. And that's a very easy mistake for people to make. They do meetings for some people because they like them, but they don't do meetings for others because they don't feel comfortable with them. But you need to be guided by your upline as to where you draw circles, not where you feel comfortable. Develop wisdom. Wisdom comes in 4 steps. The first step is information. Then you assimilate the information. Then you understand the information, and then you develop wisdom. But as Lord Chesterfield said to his son, be wiser than other people if you can, but don't tell them so. People have one thing in common. They're all different. Your people need you. 75% of the people in your group will move on because of their relationship with you, as was the case with us and Jerry and Mandy. So you need to become the leader of your group. But remember, there are 4 types of leadership. The first kind is bad leadership. And bad leadership tells people what to do. You just give people orders, commands. The second type is good leadership. Good leadership explains to people what they need to do. Good leadership explains. The third type is superior leadership. Superior leadership demonstrates. You set the pace. But the greatest leadership of all inspires people. If you're inspired, you can inspire others. And you've all got fantastic leaders to learn from. And the best business opportunity in the world. You're in the right place, at the right time, with the right people, and the right vehicle. These 2 weekends will be a catalyst for your business if you allow that to happen. This is just the beginning. You're going to see so much growth over the next 12 months, and you can be part of it if you choose to. Go out and help people achieve their dreams, and you'll have yours. Thanks for listening. It's been great speaking to you.